Hey everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel Code and Create. We have finally reached the last part of our project series, and I just want to say a big thank you for following along this entire journey. It's been an exciting process, and I hope you've enjoyed every step as much as we have. In the previous part, we focused on creating the navbar, ensuring it operates smoothly and enhances navigation throughout the website. The navbar serves as a fixed menu that remains in place as the users scroll, allowing them to jump to different sections. Additionally, we added hover effects and active state styling, which visually indicate which section is currently in view. Now, in this final part, we're going to take the project to the next level by adding three essential features: dark mode, a custom loader, and finally, deploying the website so it's live and accessible. These final touches will not only enhance the overall user experience, but also ensure your website feels more polished and modern. With dark mode, your users will have the option to personalize their browsing experience, and the loader will add a smooth, professional feel while your content loads. Once everything is set up, we will deploy the website, bringing our project to life and making it accessible online. Before we jump into the code, if you've enjoyed this series so far, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future projects. Also, drop a comment below, whether it is a question, feedback, or just to let me know how your own project is going. Let's go ahead and describe the features we're going to add to our project. I'm going to start with the dark mode. Dark mode is something that's becoming more and more popular across the web. It allows users to switch between light and dark themes, giving them control over how they experience the website. Some people prefer the darker style because it is easier on the eyes, especially in low light environments, while others might stick with the traditional light theme. The great thing about what we will build is that once users pick a theme, the website will remember their choice, so the next time they visit, it will automatically load the theme they prefer. We will add this feature with a browser local storage. This small feature really enhances user comfort and flexibility, offering them a more tailored experience. Next up, we're going to add a custom loader. Loaders are an essential part of any website, especially when you want to keep users engaged while the content is loading in the background. By adding a smooth animated loader, we will let users know that the website is working and their content is on its way. We'll create a slick transition where the loader appears when the site begins loading, and then it gradually disappears, revealing the content underneath. So, combining dark mode and the loader gives your website an extra edge. Dark mode improves accessibility and comfort, while the custom loader ensures users are not left waiting without feedback. Together, these two features make the site not only more beautiful, but also more functional. So let's get started. First of all, we have to create new subcomponents in the subfolder. I'm going to call this subcomponent toggle.js. Then, as usual, I'm going to create a new functional component using RAFCE shortcut. Let's add here use client. Then I'm going to open page.js file. I'm going to import newly created subcomponent. We need here toggle. Then we need subcomponent and then toggle. After that, we have to wrap the entire content with this newly created subcomponent. We need to add here toggle. As you can see, the closing toggle tag is generated automatically. I'm going to cut it and paste it down below. Alright, so once we wrap the entire content with toggle component, I'm going to go back to the toggle.jsx file and I'm going to create here a content. Let's delete this text from here, and then I'm going to add here main instead of div. I mean the main tag. Then inside the main tag, I'm going to open div tag. Then we need again div tag. And inside the div tag, I'm going to insert button, which will include two icons. These icons will be used to switch between light and dark themes. So I'm going to insert span. At first, let's insert here text moon icon. Let's duplicate this line of code and change the contents. We need here sun icon. Now let's go to the browser. So as you can see, we got an error here. It says cannot read properties of null, reading children. So this error occurs because the reference compsref is being accessed before it has been properly populated with elements. Essentially, when the component first renders, compsref.current is initially null, so trying to access its children at this stage leads to the error. To fix this issue, we can make use of the children prop in React, which allows us to wrap multiple components inside a parent component and then pass them through. In this case, we are wrapping all the components inside the toggle component. However, because we haven't passed down the children from the toggle component to its actual content, the components that should have been inside the toggle are not being rendered. So in order to fix that issue, I'm going to extract children prop, and then I'm going to insert it after button. By extracting the children prop in the toggle components, we allow the wrapped components to be passed down and rendered inside the toggle. So once we include children in the appropriate place in the JSX, those components will be properly rendered and the compsref reference will have valid content when the intersection observer tries to access it. So if we go to the browser, then we will no longer have here the error. And as you can see, we have the contents of the toggle component. So again, this change allows us to pass the wrapped components from the parents into the toggle component and render them within it. The children prop is automatically provided by React whenever a component wraps other components or elements. The components we wrap inside toggle in the home component are passed into the toggle component through this children prop. So by placing children within the toggle component's JSX structure, we ensure that all of the wrapped components get rendered correctly inside the toggle. Now, when the intersection observer tries to access the compsref current.children, it will successfully find and read the actual children, fixing the error. Now, once the problem is fixed, we have to style the elements in the toggle component. Before we do that, I'm going to replace the text content of the span elements with the actual icons. As usual, we have the icons in the index.js file. As you can see, we have here the toggle section, and we have two different icons, the sun icon and the moon icon. So let's go ahead and import those icons inside here. So we need import, then moon icon, and also we need here sun icon. Then I'm going to insert here moon icon, and down below we need sun icon. Let's go to the browser. So as you can see, we have here two different icons. Now it's time to start to style those elements. I'm going to start with the div element. Let's add here class name. I'm going to change the background. Let's set it to BG think 50. Then I'm going to customize the second div element. So let's add here class name. First of all, I'm going to define max width, and it's going to be an arbitrary value. Let's insert here 1200 pixels. Next, I'm going to define Excel breakpoints on which width is going to be full. I mean 100%. Then we need to center the content of the element, and for that I'm going to use MX Auto. Also, we need the flex layout. Let's insert here justify center. Then we need Excel breakpoint on which I'm going to define the horizontal padding, I mean PX, equal to 90 pixels. Then I'm going to define SM breakpoints on which we need PL padding left equal to 80 pixels. And finally, we need SM breakpoints on which we have to define padding right equal to 5. Now let's go to the browser. So as you can see, we have here a scroll bar and we have to get rid of it. For that, I'm going to add here overflow hidden. Now let's go to the browser. So as you can see, we no longer have here the scroll bar. Let's go ahead and check all the sections. So as you can see, the part of project section is hidden due to this development. As you know, we are wrapping all the components with toggle component. And as you remember, while we were building all those sections, we were adding padding to the wrapper developments. So once we have now this development, we have to get rid of paddings from all the components. So let's go ahead and do that quickly. I'm going to start with the about section. As you can see, we have here px96. I'm going to get rid of, we no longer need this padding. Then I'm going to open contact, get rid of px96. Next we have experience. Then I'm going to get rid of padding from pricing section. Also, we need to do the same for the project section. Then we have questions, reviews, and finally skills. Let's go to the browser. So as you can see, project section looks good. Let's check other sections as well. So we have to change the position of this image in the experience section. As for other sections, everything looks good. Okay, so let's go to the experience components. I'm going to change the position of the image. So here is the image. Right now we have right position with 96, and I'm going to get rid of this value. So in this case, we need right 0. Now, as you can see, the problem is fixed. After that, I'm going to add class name to the wrapper development in the page.js file. I'm going to add here class name, and I'm going to define width as min, which means that the width will be minimum content. All right, so let's go ahead and close those components. We no longer need them. And then go back to the toggle.jsx file. So here I'm going to customize those 3 elements. I'm in the button and span elements. Let's start with the button. I'm going to add here class name. So first of all, we need to define the position of the button. It should be placed at the top right corner of the page. So we need position to be fixed. Then right position is going to be 14. Then we need SM breakpoints on which right position is going to be 10. Next we have top position, it's going to be 10. Also, I'm going to change the color. Let's use text yellow, 600. Then we need hover effects, and on hover I'm going to make color of the text yellow, 500. Let's check the results. So here we have the icons and the hover effect. Next, I'm going to customize the span elements. Let's start with the first one. We need here position absolute. Then the element should be block. Also, we need rounded full. Next, we need background. It's going to be sync 50. Then we need padding 1. And also I'm going to set text to 3XL. Let's check the results. So as you can see, right now only the moon icon is visible. If we comment this out, then we will have here sun icon. I'm going to get back here the moon icon. Then I'm going to copy the classes and paste it for the sun icon as well. Actually, I'm going to increase slightly the size of the moon icon, so I'm going to make text equal to 4XL. Let's comment sun icon out. Okay, so I think we have better results. Now we're going to implement a simple dark mode toggle functionality into our project. This will allow us to switch between light and dark themes with just a click. The toggling will initially be very straightforward. When we click the button, we will change the background color of our project from light to dark and vice versa. After we get this basic functionality up and running, we'll take it a step further. We'll extend the dark mode feature by integrating local storage so that our theme preference is saved even when we leave the site or refresh the page. On top of that, we will add support for system theme detection, meaning the site will automatically match the user's device theme. But first, let's start with the simple toggling functionality to see the basics in action. We need to create a state variable and a reference that will play a crucial role in how we manage the dark theme functionality and how we target specific elements in the component to toggle between light and dark modes. So first, we'll define a state variable. I'm going to insert here dark theme. Then we need an updater function, set dark theme. Next we need useState hook. And I'm going to make the default value equal to false. Next we need to import useState hook from React. So we need here useState from React. So we created a state variable named dark theme and initialized it with a value of false. This means that when the application first loads, the light theme will be applied by default. The state will change dynamically as the users interact with the toggle button, switching between light and dark themes. Whenever the state is updated to true, the dark theme will be activated. This is important because it helps us manage the theme efficiently, ensuring that the UI updates in real time whenever the user interacts with the toggle button. The second part of this is the setDarkTheme function. It will allow us to update the state by switching between true and false, depending on whether the user is enabling or disabling the dark theme. So this setup is essential for controlling the theme across our entire application. In addition to the state, we also need to create a reference using useRefHook. The reference we're going to create will be called mainRef. So let's create new variable, mainRef, and then make it equal to useRef with the default value null. We need to import useRefHook from React as well. So this variable will allow us to directly access the main element of our application. This main element wraps all the content on the page, and we need to manipulate it to add or remove the dark class, which will be responsible for toggling between light and dark modes. I'm going to add here ref attribute, and it's going to be equal to mainRef. So again, this reference allows us to apply or remove the dark class when the user clicks the toggle button, ensuring that the theme changes are applied instantly to the entire page. This approach of using a reference is also beneficial because it keeps our component structure cleaner and avoids unnecessary re-renders or complex DOM manipulations. Now that we've set up the state variable to track the theme and the reference to target the main element, the next step is to create two essential functions, one to add the dark theme and another to remove it. These two functions will be responsible for applying and removing the dark class to our main element and for updating the state accordingly. This will enable us to toggle between the light and dark modes effectively whenever the user interacts with the theme toggle button. So first, let's create the function that adds the dark theme. So I'm going to create new function. Let's call it add dark theme. We need here an arrow function. The purpose of this function is to apply the dark theme by adding the dark class to our main ref element and updating the state to reflect the dark theme is active. Inside the function, the first thing that we have to do is the following. We need main reference dot current dot class list followed by the add method, and we have to pass here class dark. So this is where our useRef comes into play, allowing us to directly manipulate the class of the main element in our layout. By adding the dark class to this element, we ensure that the styles associated with the dark theme are applied throughout the page. The classList.add method is essential here because it allows us to dynamically attach the dark class to the element at a runtime without modifying the actual HTML or requiring a page reload. After we've added the dark class, the next step is to update the state to indicate that the dark theme is now active. We do this by calling setDarkTheme function, and we have to pass here true. So this line of code changes the value of our dark theme state variable from false to true, which signals that the dark mode is enabled. Updating the state is important because it keeps the rest of our application aware of which theme is currently active, ensuring that we can properly toggle back and forth between the light and dark themes. Next, we'll create the opposite function, remove dark theme. As the name suggests, this function will be responsible for removing the dark theme and reverting the page back to its light mode. The logic here is very similar to the add dark theme function, but with one key difference. Instead of adding the dark class, we'll remove it. So I'm going to duplicate this code. Let's change the name. So we need here camel case. I'm going to change the name of the function. In this case, we need remove dark theme. So here, instead of add method, we need remove. And then we have to change the value of setDarkTheme function. Instead of true, we need here false. So here, the first line removes class dark from the main element, which will immediately disable the dark theme and return the page to its default light theme styles. Then, once the dark class is removed, we need to update the state to reflect that the dark theme is no longer active. So this is done by setDarkTheme with the value false. Now that we've created the functions to add and remove the dark theme, we need to make sure they execute at the right time, specifically when a user clicks the icons on the page. This is where the click event comes into play. We will attach the functionality to the button that toggles the theme, so every time the button is clicked, the theme will switch between light and dark modes depending on the current state. So I'm going to add onClick event handler to the button. Then I'm going to insert here a callback function in which we're going to insert if statement. I'm going to insert here a condition, not dark theme. If this condition is true, then we need add dark theme function. I mean, we have to call this function, and then we need else statement in which we need to remove dark theme. So what this does is straightforward but essential for the dark mode toggle. When the user clicks the icon, the onClick event triggers, and it first checks the current value of the dark theme state. If dark theme is false, meaning the dark theme is not currently applied, the add dark theme function is called. This function applies the dark class to the main container and sets dark theme to true, which activates the dark mode. On the other hand, if dark theme is true, meaning the dark theme is already active, the remove dark theme function is executed. This removes the dark class from the main container and sets dark theme back to false, which switches the site back to light mode. So in this way, every time the user clicks the toggle button, the code checks the current theme, applies the appropriate function, and ensures that the theme switches seamlessly between light and dark modes. Now that we have the basic functionality in place for toggling between light and dark themes, The next step is to update the icons dynamically based on the theme the user selects. We want the icons to change visually to reflect the current theme, showing the moon icon when the light theme is active and the sun icon when the dark theme is enabled. This will give users a clear visual indication of which theme they are currently using, making the UI more intuitive and user-friendly. To achieve this, we will use a simple conditional expression in our code. So as you know, right now we have here two span elements. I'm going to comment one of them out. Then here, instead of moon icon, I'm going to insert dark theme, followed by a ternary operator. So if dark theme is true, then we need sun icon. And if it is false, then we need moon icon. So again, if dark theme is true, meaning dark mode is enabled, we want to display the sun icon. This makes sense because the sun represents light, so the icon prompts the user to switch back to light mode. On the other hand, if dark theme is false, meaning light mode is active, we display the moon icon, which indicates that the user can switch to dark mode by clicking it. So if we go to the browser and click the icon, then you will see that it will change on each click. Alright. After that, we need to make a small but crucial adjustment to our Tailwind CSS configuration file. To ensure our dark mode toggle works correctly, we have to let Tailwind know how to manage the dark theme in our project. This requires modifying the Tailwind config file. So let's go ahead and open this file. And down below, add dark mode with the value class. Now, why do we need this change? By default, Tailwind CSS looks for dark mode based on the user's system preference. However, since we're manually toggling between light and dark themes through our code and applying the dark class directly to the elements, we need to tell Tailwind to use the class method for handling dark mode. This way, whenever the dark class is added to our main element, Tailwind knows to apply all the dark theme styles. So once we add dark mode with the value class to the Tailwind config file, what happens behind the scenes is that Tailwind will now look for the dark class on our elements and apply any corresponding styles whenever that class is present. This gives us full control over when and where the dark theme is activated. Alright, so now it's time to test how it works. I'm going to add dark class to the div element, and I'm going to change background to sync 800. Now if we go to the browser, then you'll see here the dark background for the entire page. Now if we click the icon, then the theme will be switched to the light. Alright, so now that we've successfully implemented the toggling functionality between light and dark themes, it's time to take the next step and apply the appropriate styles to all our components. This will ensure that the entire project looks great regardless of the theme the user selects. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Adding styles for dark mode to every single component at this point might seem a bit repetitive or tedious, but I saved this part for the end. While we could have been adding the dark theme styles as we built each component earlier, I wanted to keep things focused on functionality and layout first. Now that everything is in place, it feels more relevant and efficient to apply the dark mode styles all at once. This way we can use the entire site come together and ensure everything transitions smoothly between the two themes. So don't worry, it's going to be straightforward and I'll walk you through each adjustment. So here in the toggle component, I'm going to add to the span elements dark, and I'm going to change the background. It's going to be zinc 800. Next, I'm going to open hero component, and I'm going to start adding styles for different elements. Let's start with the H1 heading element. I'm going to add here dark, and we have to change text to white. Then I'm going to change the style for paragraph. So let's add here dark and change the color of the text. It's going to be gray 200. And also I'm going to add here transition colors. Let's add transition colors to the heading element as well. Now let's go to the browser, change the theme. So as you can see, we have here, nice and cool, switching from light to dark theme. Okay, after that, I'm going to customize the about section. I'm in the component. So here I'm going to find div elements after image, and I'm going to add here dark. Let's change background to zinc 700. Also add here transition colors. Then I'm going to find span elements and add here dark text zinc 700. Then we need transition colors. And finally, let's add dark to the paragraph. Here we need text white. All right, so I think that's it about the JSX file. Let's go to the browser. So as you can see, everything looks great, except of those textual elements. So as you know, we have achievements subcomponent, which is nested into the about component. So here I'm going to add class dark to the span elements, and I'm going to change the color of the text. It's going to be white, and then we need transition colors. Let's go to the browser. Actually, that's not the span element we wanted, so I'm going to cut those classes. We need styles for this span element here. Let's go to the browser. Now everything looks great. As you can see, the heading of the section is dark, so we have to change it. And as you remember, we have subcomponent heading, so I'm going to add here dark. Let's change color of the text. It's going to be white, and we need also transition colors. So as you can see, the heading is changed for every section. Okay, so with the about section we are done. Next we have experience section, so I'm going to close those components and open experience. So here we have to search for motion div. I mean this div element. Let's add here dark. I'm going to change the background. It's going to be zinc 700, and we need transition colors. After that, I'm going to change the classes for h1 heading element. Let's add here dark. So I'm going to change the color of the text. It's going to be white. Then we need paragraph. Let's add here dark. So in case of paragraph, I'm going to set the color of the text to gray 100. And then we need div elements, which is placed before the span element. So I'm going to add here dark. We need text gray 200, and then transition colors. Okay, so I think that's it. Let's go to the browser. So as you can see, the experience section looks fine. Next we have skill section, and we don't have to change here anything. Then we have review section. So let's go ahead and open reviews.jsx file. So here I'm going to find motion div, which is placed before the image element. So let's add here dark. We need PG zinc 700 with transition colors. Then I'm going to find paragraph, which is placed after h1 heading element. Let's add here dark and change color of the text, we need white with, again, transition colors. Let's go to the browser. So as you can see, the review section looks great. Next we have projects. And we have to change the backsides of the project cards. So let's go back to the VS Code and open projects. Actually, we don't need projects, but projects. So I'm going to find here motion div, which is placed after image. Let's add here dark. We need to change background. Let's set it to zinc 700. And also I'm going to define the opacity. It's going to be 95. Let's add here transition colors. I'm going to add dark class to the H2 heading element as well. So here we need text white with transition colors. And then I'm going to customize the paragraph. So let's add here dark. In case of paragraph, we need text gray 100 with, again, transition colors. Let's go to the browser. So as you can see, the back sides of the project cards look pretty nice. And actually with the project section, we are done. Next we have pricing plan section. So let's go ahead and open this component. So in case of pricing plans component, we need to customize these developments. I mean motion div. So I'm going to add here dark. Let's change the background. We need zinc 700. Followed by the transition colors. Next we have H1 heading element. So let's add here dark. Let's change color of the text. We need text white with transition colors. Then we have span elements. Let's add here text white with, again, transition colors. Then we have li elements. Let's add dark, then text white, transition colors. And finally, I'm going to customize the paragraph. So let's add here dark with text gray, 200, and then add transition colors. Okay, so that's it about the pricing plans component. As you can see, it looks pretty nice. Next we have contact section, and I think we don't need to change here anything. And finally we have to customize questions and answers section. So let's go ahead and open questions section. So here we're not going to do anything. Let's close questions.jsx file and open question, which is a subcomponent. So here I'm going to customize H1 heading element. So let's add here dark. Change color of the text, make it white. Then we need dark hover. So we need to change background on hover. It's going to be zinc 700. Then again we need dark with hover. And on hover I'm going to change the color of the text. It's going to be yellow 600. Then I'm going to customize paragraph. So I'm going to add here dark, text gray, 200. Let's go to the browser. So as you can see, everything looks good. Okay, so with the sections, we are done. The only thing that we have to do is to customize the navbar. So let's go back to the VS Code and open navbar. So here I'm going to customize the second span element. Let's add here dark, text white. Then I'm going to customize this span element here. So let's add dark, again text white. And finally I'm going to customize the copyright text. So let's add here dark with text gray 200 and with transition colors. Actually, let's correct this class. We need text gray 200. Let's go to the browser. So, as you can see, navbar looks pretty nice on dark mode. Alright, so now that we've successfully implemented the theme toggle and added the styles for dark theme to all our components, the next step is to make sure the user's theme preference is remembered when they revisit the site. For that, we will use browser local storage. We also want to check the system's color scheme so that if the user hasn't chosen a theme yet, this site will automatically apply the system's preferred theme. This will make the experience much more seamless for users and allow them to continue browsing in their preferred mode, whether it is light or dark. To do this, we will be using React Local Storage instead of the standard Local Storage API. React Local Storage is a helpful library that simplifies the process of interacting with local storage in React, unlike the standard API, which requires us to manually handle tasks like stringifying and parsing data. React Local Storage streamlines these operations, providing a more React-friendly interface. This makes our code more readable and easier to maintain, especially when dealing with stateful logic like theme management across multiple user sessions. So the first thing that we have to do is to install React.js local storage, and to install this library, we have to open new terminal, and we have to run the following command: npm install React.js local storage. So the library is added to our project, and now we need to import it. So in toggle.jsx file, I'm going to import React.js local storage from React.js local storage. Now that we have installed and imported React local storage, the next step is to store the user's theme preference in local storage. This ensures that when they reload the page, their preferred theme will remain active. To achieve this, we use the React local storage.set method, which is a more convenient way of interacting with local storage in React. So down below, where we have onClick event handler with if statement, I'm going to add here React local storage.set, and here I'm going to pass dark theme with the value true. So what we're doing here is setting a key value pair in local storage, where the key is dark theme and the value is true. This tells the system that the user has selected the dark theme. By storing this information, we make sure that the next time the user visits the site or reloads the page, we can retrieve this value and apply the dark theme automatically. On the other hand, when the user switches to the light theme, we need to grab this line of code, add it here, and change true into false. So this line sets the same key, dark theme, but now the value is false, indicating that the light theme is active. Just like the dark theme, we store this value so that even after a page reload or new session, the user's preference for the light theme is remembered. So by using those two lines, we ensure that we store and update the user's theme choice in local storage, allowing the site to persist their theme preference across different sessions. Let's go to the browser and inspect the page. Then we have to go to the application tab, where you can find local storage. So as you can see, we have here key value pairs. The key is dark theme. As for the value, it is true. If we change the theme to light, then we'll get here dark theme false. So now our theme preference is stored in local storage. Alright, so now that we have successfully set the user's theme preference into local storage, we need to retrieve this information when the page loads, ensuring that the user's chosen theme is applied immediately. For this, we will use the useEffect hook. The useEffect hook is perfect for handling side effects like fetching data from local storage and applying the theme as soon as the component mounts, or when it renders for the first time. So, in our case, we will be using useEffect to check if the user's theme preference is already stored in local storage, and if it is, we will apply the relevant theme based on this value. So I'm going to add here use effect hook. We need to pass here a callback function, and then we need dependency array. Also, I'm going to import use effect hook from React. So now we're going to retrieve the user's preference from local storage to see if they have already chosen a dark or light theme during a previous visit. This is crucial because we want to ensure that the website reflects the user's last preference immediately when the page loads, rather than forcing them to toggle the theme every time they visit. So inside here, I'm going to create new variable, and it's going to be dark theme. It should be equal to React local storage dot get, and we have to pass here dark theme. So this line is responsible for the retrieval process. What this line does is access local storage using the get method, specifically asking for the value associated with the key dark theme. In this case, we are using dark theme as the key, which we previously set when the user clicked to toggle between light and dark modes. This line will retrieve the value stored in local storage under this key, which will either be a string representing true or false, or it might return undefined if this is the user's first visit or no preference has been saved yet. Next, we're going to handle the value that we just retrieved from local storage and make sure it is in the correct format for our application. So I'm going to create another variable, and it's going to be dark theme parse. It should be equal to dark theme. Then we need not equals to undefined, and then we need an operator followed by JSON.parse, and we have to pass here dark theme. Let's break this down. First, we're checking whether the value of dark theme is undefined. If it is undefined, that means either the user has not set a theme preference yet, or for some other reason the dark theme key doesn't exist in local storage. This ensures we are only attempting to process the value if it exists. The second part, JSON.parse, converts the stored value, which is retrieved as a string from local storage, back into a JavaScript boolean. Local storage can only store data as strings, so when we saved the value, it was saved as a string like true or false. Now with JSON.parse, we are converting that string back into its boolean form to be able to use it logically in our application. In simpler terms, this line ensures that if there is a theme preference stored, we are safely converting it to a usable boolean. Otherwise, it remains undefined, allowing us to proceed with the next logic. This step ensures that we can accurately apply the user's theme preference based on the value in local storage. Alright, so now that we have successfully retrieved the stored theme preference from local storage, we're going to apply it by using an if-else statement. This will ensure that the correct theme, whether light or dark, is applied when the user opens the site. So, I'm going to add here if-else statement. The condition is going to be dark theme parsed. If it is true, then we need to add dark theme. And if the condition is false, we need else statement where we have to call remove dark theme. Besides that, I'm going to run to the console dark theme and also dark theme parsed. So let's go to the browser, reload the page. As you can see, we have here dark theme false. Let's change the theme. Now we have dark theme true. If we go to the console, reload the page. So we have here again dark theme, and the values are true in both cases. So as you can see, once we set the theme to dark and then reload the page, the theme remains dark. If we set it to light and then reload, it will remain light, and also we'll get here false in both cases. Okay, let's go back to the VS Code. I'm going to explain what happens with this if-else statement. First, we check if the value stored in dark theme parsed is true. This variable holds the result of checking whether a valid dark theme preference exists in local storage. If the preference is found and is set to true, it means the user had selected the dark theme before, and we need to apply it again by calling the addDarkTheme function. This function, as you know, adds the dark class to the root element and sets the state variable darkTheme to true, ensuring the dark mode is applied. However, if the dark theme parsed value is false, it means the user has either not selected the dark theme or prefers the light theme. In this case, we trigger the removeDarkTheme function. This removes the dark class from the root element and sets the dark theme state to false, ensuring the light theme remains active. Now that we have handled saving and retrieving the user's theme preference from local storage, the next step is to introduce functionality that aligns with the system's default theme. This means that if the user hasn't explicitly chosen a theme, our app will default to the system's current theme, whether that's light or dark. To achieve this, we're going to use the window.matchMedia method, which allows us to check what theme the user's system is currently set to. So here, I'm going to create a new variable, which is going to be system theme. It should be equal to type of window not equals to undefined. Then we need AND operator followed by window.matchMedia, and inside the parentheses we need to open quotes. Then we need prefers color scheme dark, and then let's close the parenthesis, and then we need here matches. So this line checks if the system's theme is set to dark mode. We begin by ensuring that the window object exists because in environments like server-side rendering, window might be undefined. By including the condition type of window not equals to undefined, we make sure that the following code only runs in a browser where the window object is available. This is important because accessing window outside of the browser could lead to errors. Next, we use window.matchMedia to evaluate the system's color scheme. The matchMedia function accepts a media query, in this case prefers color scheme dark. This query checks whether the system is set to dark mode. If the system's theme is set to dark, then it will return true. Otherwise, it returns false, indicating the system is in light mode. So this logic helps us determine what theme the system prefers, and based on that, we can decide whether to apply the dark theme or leave the light theme as the default. By including the system theme preference, we're enhancing the user experience by respecting the user's theme settings. So once we have retrieved the system theme preference, we can seamlessly integrate it with our theme toggling functionality to provide a more dynamic and responsive user experience. Before that, I'm going to check how this function works in console. Let's copy this code, then insert it here. So if we run this code, then we will get true. Because right now my theme in settings is dark. If I check my settings, you will see that I have chosen dark. If I change it to light and then run the code again, we will get false. So that's the way how this code works. I'm going to get back here, dark mode. So now that we have successfully detected the system theme, the next step is to incorporate the system preference into our existing logic for applying dark or light themes. Currently, we are checking whether the user has explicitly chosen a theme and saved it in local storage. However, when a user has not set a theme manually, we want to respect the system's theme settings by default. This means that if no user preference is stored, the application should automatically adopt the system's theme, whether that's light or dark. To achieve this, we need to modify the existing if statement to include both the system theme and the user's preference. So let's go ahead and modify if-else statement. So here, instead of this condition, I'm going to pass dark theme equals to undefined. If this is true, then we need here system theme followed by a ternary operator. We need here add dark theme function, and then if the condition is false, then we need remove dark theme. In the else statement, we need to check if dark theme parsed is true or false. If it is true, then we need add dark theme, and then we need remove dark theme. So here we first check if the user has set a theme preference by evaluating dark theme equals undefined. If dark theme is undefined, that means the user hasn't set a preference, and we move on to checking the system theme. If the user hasn't set a theme, we defer to the system's theme using the system theme variable. This variable tells us whether the system itself is using dark mode. If the system theme is dark, system theme will be true, and we apply the dark theme using add dark theme function. If the system theme is light, we call remove dark theme to ensure the light theme is applied. Then, if the user has set a theme preference, meaning dark theme is not undefined, we respect that preference by evaluating dark theme parsed. This variable holds the user's saved theme preference from local storage. If dark theme parsed is true, we apply the dark theme with add dark theme function, and if it is false, the user prefers the light theme. So we call remove dark theme to ensure that the light theme is active. This approach ensures that we provide flexibility for users who want to set their own theme preference while also respecting the system theme for those who have not set a preference. Alright, so let's add here system theme and check if everything works fine. Let's go to the browser and reload the page. So now, as you can see, we have false twice because the theme is set to light, but as the third value, as the value of system theme, we have true because, as you remember, I have set system theme to dark. Now, if we change the theme and reload the page, then it will remain dark. Okay, so we have now successfully finished setting up the functionality for switching between light and dark themes, making sure the page adapts smoothly to the selected mode. With that complete, it's time to move on to refining the buttons. Our next focus will be adding animations to the toggle button to enhance the user experience and make the theme switching feel more dynamic and polished. Let's go back to the VS Code. So right now we have a simple span element that dynamically switches between the moon icon and the sun icon based on the current theme. This works, but we want to enhance this button by adding smooth transitions and animations to improve the visual experience for our users. Specifically, we will use framer motion to animate the icons so they seamlessly scale when toggling between dark and light themes. To do this, we will replace the basic span elements with the motion components from framer motion. So before proceeding, let's first import the motion component from framer motion. We need here import motion from framer motion. Then I'm going to get back here the second icon. Let's add motion for both span elements. Next, I'm going to change the content of the span elements. So we need here moon icon. As for the second span element, we need sun icon. So as I said, we're going to add some smooth animations to the icons. We can achieve this by applying the animate property to each motion span element. For the moon icon, we'll set it to scale down when the dark theme is active. And for the sun icon, we'll scale it up when the light theme is active. This ensures that only one icon is visible at a time and they transition smoothly as the user switches between the themes. So I'm going to add for both span elements animate property, and we need here scale, dark theme. It should be followed by a ternary operator. Then for the moon icon we need here 0 if the dark theme is true, and then we need 1 if it is false. As for the sun icon we need opposite, we need here 1 and 0. Now let's go to the browser and check if this works fine. So as you can see, we have here nice and cool animations. Actually, we have to change the background of the sun icon. So for that, I'm going to add here dark PG zinc 800. So now everything works perfectly. Alright, so we have now wrapped up the dark mode functionality, allowing users to seamlessly switch between light and dark themes, with their preferences being saved and applied automatically, even after a page refresh. We also made sure the system theme is detected, adding an extra layer of customization to the user experience. With that in place, we are ready to move on to the next part of this process, setting up the loader, which will give our page a sleek and professional transition effect when loading. So let's jump right into it. We have to create a new subcomponent, and it's going to be load.jsx. Then inside here, I'm going to create a new functional component using RAFCE shortcut. As usual, I'm going to add here useClient. Then I'm going to go to the page.js file, and here above the toggle component, I'm going to add load. Actually, we need to import it at first. So let's duplicate this line of code and change the name of the subcomponent. It's going to be load. So again, it should be placed here above the toggle, outside of the toggle component. Let's go back to the load.jsx file. I'm going to close this component. So here I'm going to add image, and in the source attribute I'm going to specify spinner.gif. I mean this GIF here. As the alt attribute, I'm going to insert here spinner GIF. Let's go to the browser. So here we have the spinner GIF. Next, I'm going to style those elements. So let's start with the div element. We need here class name. Let's set width to full. Also, we need height to be full. Then I'm going to change the position of the div element. It's going to be fixed. Then we need left to be 0. Top is going to be 0. Then I'm going to use flex layout in order to center the GIF on the page. So we need here item center, and then justify center. Next, we need to change the background, and in this case, I'm going to use linear gradient effect. First of all, we have to define the direction of the color transition. We need PG gradient to top, and then we need colors. The first one is going to be yellow 50. And then we need red 50. Let's go to the browser. So as you can see, the background is changed. Also, the spinner is placed in the center, but we have to hide the content of the page. Therefore, I'm going to add here the index property with the value, let's say 50. So now only the spinner is displayed on the page. All right, now we're going to make the loader functional and bring it to life with smooth transitions. First, we need to create a state variable that will track whether the loader should be active or not. So let's go back to the VS Code and create new state variable. We need here load. Then the updater function is going to be setLoad it should be equal to useState. And as the default value, I'm going to insert here false. We need to import useState from React. So this state variable will be essential because it will allow us to control when the loader is visible and when it should disappear. By toggling this state between true and false, we can determine if the loader is currently loading or if it's finished and needs to be hidden. The state will work like this. Initially, the loader is hidden, but as soon as the component mounts, we will trigger the loader and let it display. Once the page content is fully loaded, this state will switch and we will hide the loader. Next, we need to use the useEffect hook to control the timing of this process. We will use useEffect because it runs after the component has mounted, making it the perfect place to trigger our loader. So here I'm going to use the useEffect. We need a callback function with a dependency array. Then we have to import useState hook. Actually, not useState, but useEffect. Now inside the useEffect hook, we have to update the state variable using setLoad function, and we have to make it true. So this ensures that the loader will become active as soon as the component mounts and will stay active until we instruct it to disappear. Without the useEffect hook, we wouldn't have a reliable way to trigger the loader at the exact right time. So this hook is crucial for managing the loader's behavior. After setting up the useEffect, we are going to add some animations to the loader to make it visually appealing. We'll be using the Framer Motion library to achieve this. First, we will need to import motion from Framer Motion, and then we will wrap the div element containing loader with motion div. By doing this, we can apply animations directly to the loader's container. So as I said, we have to import motion from Framer Motion, and then we have to wrap div element with motion div. Now for the animations, we're going to define three key attributes: initial, animate, and transition. Let's start with the initial. So here I'm going to insert top property with the value 0. The initial attribute will define the starting position of the loader, in this case from the top of the screen. This means when the page first loads, the loader will be positioned at the very top. Next, we need animate attribute, and here I'm going to insert top. As the value, I'm going to insert here a conditional statement. We need load followed by a ternary operator. So if it is true, then we need -100%, and if it is false, then we need 0. So the animate attribute will determine the behavior of the loader once the state changes. Here we will check if the load state is true. If it is, we will animate the loader so that it moves off the screen by setting its top position to -100%. Otherwise, the loader will remain in its original position. And finally, we need here transition. I'm going to insert here duration, and it's going to be 0.5. So the transition attribute will define how long the animation should take. We'll set the duration to 0.5 seconds, ensuring that the loader disappears smoothly and quickly once the page has loaded. This creates a polished, seamless transition for the user, making the loader fade away smoothly instead of disappearing directly. Let's go to the browser and reload the page. So as you can see, we have here loader, which disappears once the content is loaded. Alright, so as you can see, we have a fully functional and animated loader that engages the user while the page is loading and smoothly fades away once everything is ready. Next, we need to enhance the project with one more feature. Currently, when the loader disappears, the hero section comes into view immediately without any transition. So to create a smoother experience, I'm going to add an animation to the hero section. Once the loader disappears, I'll make the elements slide down and slide left, creating a more fluid and engaging transition. So let's go to the hero.jsx file. Here, I'm going to find this development. I'm in the third development in the content. So here I'm going to add motion. And then I'm going to define initial property, actually the attribute. Let's add here opacity 0, and then we need y with value minus 100. So we start by setting the initial state of the development with opacity 0 and y minus 100. This means the element will start fully transparent and position 100 pixels above its final position. Next we need an animate attribute, and inside here I'm going to insert opacity with the value 1, and then we need y equal to 0. So here we define that the element is fully visible and moves down to its original position. And finally we need transition. I'm going to insert here delay 0.5. This attribute ensures that the animation starts after half a second, allowing the loader to fully disappear before the element slides into view. This creates a smooth and visually appealing effect. Let's go to the browser. Actually, I'm going to switch to the light theme. Let's reload the page. So once the loader disappears, then the content comes from top to bottom. And we have here a nice and cool effect. Okay, next we need to animate the social media links. Let's go back to the VS Code and find the social media icons. We have here hero icons. So I'm going to add here motion. Then we need initial attribute, and I'm going to insert here opacity 0, then y 100. Next we need animate, and inside here I'm going to insert opacity with the value 1, then we need y equal to 0. We are using the same attributes and the same properties that we used in case of the development. And now we need transition. Let's insert here delay 0.5. Let's go to the browser, reload the page. So as you can see, the social media icons are appearing from the bottom. Next we need to add animation to the button. I mean this button here. So actually, let's grab those attributes and find the link elements. So I mean this link element. Let's add here motion. Then I'm going to insert here the attributes. So in case of initial, we need opacity 0 and then x minus 30. Then we need animate with opacity 1 and x 0. So in this case, button will move horizontally. That's why we use here x. As for the delay, we need here 0.7. All right, let's go to the browser, reload the page. So as you can see, we have here nice and cool effects. The button is moving from the left to right. All right, so now that we have completed the loader, we have a fully functional loading screen that smoothly transitions to the hero section, enhancing the user experience right from the start. Next, we are going to ensure that our project looks perfect on all screen sizes and devices. Throughout the development process, we've been adding responsive classes, but now it's time to thoroughly test and fine-tune the design for different screen sizes and devices. We will make any necessary adjustments to ensure that the project is fully responsive and looks great whether it is viewed on a mobile, tablet, or desktop screen. So let's go ahead and inspect the page, switch to the responsive mode. So I have prepared a set of commonly used screen sizes for desktops, tablets, and mobiles to test our layout thoroughly. Specifically, we'll be checking our project on 6 different desktop screen sizes, 2 tablet sizes, and 3 mobile sizes. This process will help us guarantee that the responsiveness we built into our design holds up and that the user experience remains seamless no matter what device or screen size the project is viewed on. So let's go ahead and check the project. I'm going to switch to different desktop screen sizes. So I think everything looks great. We have desktop 3. So everything looks good. Then let's check desktop 4. So on desktop 4, the content of the project looks good, but as you can see, we have to customize the navbar because the layout is a little bit messed up. So let's go ahead and open navbar. I'm going to find the first development, which is the wrapper. So here I'm going to find padding Y, which is equal to 10 by default. So here I'm going to add XL breakpoint, and I'm going to make PY equal to 6. Let's go to the browser. So now we have better results. Next, I'm going to find development, which is placed after link. So here I'm going to add XL breakpoint, and we need gap Y equal to 1. Okay, so now we have much better results. The only thing that I'm going to do is to change the size of the icon slightly. So let's find the A elements. And here I'm going to add XL breakpoint with group hover. Then we need scale to be 1:15. Also, I'm going to add here XL. Scale is going to be 100. As for the second case, we need here XL scale equal to 90. Let's go to the browser. So I think now navbar looks pretty nice. And actually the entire project is responsive and looks great. Okay, so that's it about desktop 4. Next, let's check project on desktop 5. So on desktop 5, I think everything looks good. And finally, we have desktop 6, on which I think we have to make some changes. So as you can see, in the experience section, we have a problem. We have to place this timeline behind those boxes. So let's go ahead and open experience.js file. I'm going to find development, which is placed before H1. I mean this development. And here I'm going to add the index property with the value 20. So now the problem is fixed. The timeline is placed behind the boxes. And the only thing that we have to do is to hide those arrows. We no longer need them. So let's find span, which is the icon. I mean this element here. So I'm going to add LG breakpoint. And on this breakpoint, we need hidden. Let's go to the browser. So as you can see, the arrows are hidden. But actually, we have here a tiny issue. This timeline shouldn't be placed like so. Let's check the code. So here, as I guessed, we are missing here position relative. Let's go and check. So now the problem is fixed. Okay, so I think that's it about the experience section. Next we have skill section. It looks good. The review section looks good as well. Also the project section. pricing, and now we have here contact section. I think we have to make here some changes. Let's go to the contact.js file. So I'm going to add here LG breakpoint, and on LG breakpoint we need height to be auto. As for the padding Y, we need LG breakpoint, and padding Y is going to be 40. Let's check the result. So now we have much better result. Actually, we're missing here the space. Let's check the inputs. So here we might have a mistake. Actually, we need here gap Y. Now the problem should be fixed. All right. So that's it with the contact section, and actually with the project on that breakpoint, we are done. Everything looks great. Next we have tablets, and on tablets, I think that everything looks good. Let's check tablet 2. So as you can see, everything looks good again. Now let's go ahead and check the project on mobile screen sizes. We have mobile 1. So on mobile 1 screen size, I think everything looks good, and we don't need to change anything. Next we have mobile 2. On mobile 2, again, everything. Actually, as you can see, the icon ends up behind the elements. So let's go ahead and fix that. I'm going to go to the toggle.js file. Let's find button. So here I'm going to add a z-index property. Actually, we need z equal to, let's say, I don't know, 40. So now as you can see, the problem is fixed. Okay. Let's check other sections. So everything works perfectly and looks good. So finally, we have mobile 3, the smallest screen size for mobile phones. So as you can see, we have to make here some changes. Actually, I'm going to create a custom breakpoint for that screen size. And in order to create a custom breakpoint, we have to go to the tailwind.config.js file. Here, as you remember, we have 4 different breakpoints. And I'm going to add here one more breakpoint for extra small screen size. We need XS. And I'm going to add here max equal to, let's check again, browser. So mobile 2 was 393 pixels. So I'm going to select this size, 393 pixels. Now on extra small screen size, we have to customize the navbar. Let's go ahead and add here XS. Then we need gap Y equal to 0. After that, I'm going to customize the icons. So let's add here some styles for extra small screen size. So we need XS. Actually, let's add it here. We need group hover followed by scale, and it should be 100. Next, I'm going to change scales here as well. So let's add XS followed by scale equal to, let's say, 80. And then let's copy this code, add it here, and change the scale to 70. And also, we have to customize the copyright text. Let's add here XS. Make text equal to 11 pixels. Actually, let's grab this code and paste it here next to the default code. Okay, let's go to the browser. So, as you can see, now bar looks great. Let's check other sections. So everything looks good. Let's go down to the contact section. So here I think that we have large space. So let's make it smaller. I'm going to go to the contact.js file. So here we need to find the first development. Let's add here access breakpoint and make padding bottom equal to 20. All right, now we have much better result. All right, so that's it. We finished making our project fully responsive across all commonly used screen sizes, from desktops and tablets to mobile devices. We checked how the layout adapts, made necessary adjustments, and ensured that everything looks great and functions perfectly, no matter the screen size. This is a critical step because as web developers, we need to ensure that users across different devices enjoy a seamless and visually appealing experience. Now we have reached the final stage of this project, deploying the website on Vercel. Once it is deployed, our project will be live, allowing everyone to access it online. Vercel makes the deployment process smooth and straightforward, and I'll guide you step by step through the entire process. So let's dive into it and get our project live. I'm going to close the responsive mode. So in order to make our project live, first of all, we need to open our GitHub account. I hope you already have your GitHub account. If you don't have it, then go ahead and create GitHub account. Once you create your GitHub account or open your GitHub account, next we have to create a new repository by clicking this new button here. After that, we have to specify the name of our repository. In this case, I'm going to name our project as Personal Portfolio. And we have to click Create Repository. Once we do that, then GitHub will generate all those commands which we have to run in our project directory. So in order to run those commands, I'm going to use git bash, which I have already installed. So if I click here, you will see PowerShell and then git bash. So I'm going to use this terminal. And if you don't have git bash, then you can go ahead and visit this website, git-scm.com, and download git bash for your operating system and then install it. It is a very simple and straightforward process. So as I said, we have to run those commands in our project directory. I'm going to start with git init. Next, we need git add dots in order to add all the files that we have here in our project directory. After that, let's check the commands. So after that, we need git commit. I'm going to copy this command and paste it here. I'm going to leave here first commit. You can change it if you want. So let's run this command as well. Next we have git branch -m main. Let's run this command as well. After that we have git remote at origin. And finally, I'm going to run the last command, which is git push. So let's run this command here. Once it is done, you can check your repository on your GitHub account. Let's reload the page. So as you can see, we have here our project, personal portfolio, and all the files and folders are placed here. All right, so after that, I'm going to open Vercel website. So the first thing that you have to do on Vercel is to create an account, which is a very simple process. So if you don't have an account on Vercel, let's go ahead and create an account. Once you create the account, you have to click Dashboard, where you can click Import Projects. And you will find here the repository from your GitHub account. As you can see, we have here personal portfolio, which we have created a minute ago. Now all we need to do is to click Import. So we have here project name, then framework, next.js. Next we have build and output settings. We don't have to change here anything. Next we have environment variables. In our project we don't have any environment variables, so I'm going to close it. And now we have to click deploy. So as you can see, deployment started. We have here build logs. This process will take some time. And once this process is done, so congratulations, now our project is live. If we click here, then you will see that our project is live in the browser. Actually, let's close this toolbar. We don't need it. All right, so the project is live. Actually, we have here some strange domain, URL. I'm going to change it. So in order to change the URL, you can click here at domain, then edit, and here you can change the URL, the domain. So let's get rid of those words. Actually, let's try this name. Click save. We cannot add personal portfolio. It is already taken, so I'm going to add here, I don't know, let's say developer. Well, it is free. So now if I refresh the page, the old domain will no longer work. Now if we click here, then the project will be open in the browser with new domain name. Alright, so we have officially completed the entire project, from building and styling the components, adding dark mode functionality and ensuring responsiveness, to finally deploying it live on Vercel. It's been an incredible journey and we have covered so much ground, creating a fully functional, responsive, and visually stunning portfolio website. I hope you enjoyed following along and learned a lot throughout this process. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future updates. I'd love to hear your thoughts or any questions in the comments below. Thanks for being a part of this journey, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.